Thank you for speaking. I appreciate it. I asked this of Mayor Anise Parker, and I'm going to put it back on you, about domestic partnership benefits. And Mayor Anise Parker said that her mission, when she was getting elected for the second term, was to bring domestic partnership benefits to the city of Houston. And she said that MD Anderson, to be a top institution, should have domestic partnership benefits. And that would make it a great institution. Dr. Gibbs has said in the past that there have been doctors that said that they don't want to work at MD Anderson because MD Anderson doesn't offer domestic partnership benefits. And you just said we want to work arm in arm. And I think in order to work arm in arm and be together, we have to have domestic partnership benefits. So I'm going to bring the question back to you.
I appreciate that question. This is one of the ones where I would have to look at state law and so on. It's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not trying to avoid the answer. That's not my style. I'm extremely straightforward, and there's no filtering here. But it's my understanding that even domestic partners of just heterosexual relationships are not recognized by the state. I could be wrong, but this is something that we can look into. But what is critically important, Texas needs to do, and this group is obviously trying to do that on a larger level, not just within MD Anderson, is to influence state law so that we can actually be removed from the shackles that I, for one, feel will be a stain on our reputation in the decades ahead when people look back on this period of human history, just as we do 50 years ago, and how we treated African Americans, or 100 years ago, certain ethnic populations. It's embarrassing. And so I think that we have to basically educate the masses, educate our elected officials, and inspire them to actually make the tough decisions in a conservative state. So I appreciate the question.
So coming back to the question, I think, so you're right, domestic partnership, even for heterosexual, is not allowed in Texas. I think there are two levels to that that we are looking for. There are soft benefits that actually are something that the institution can work around the state of Texas law. And other institutions, other universities have done that. And it will take, of course, an effort from the legal standpoint as well as the administration to go over those benefits. For example, the FMLA, which is really a federal law. I think the other aspect, and I think you touched on that, and I'm really proud that you did, is the fact that we are the best cancer center in the United States. We are the jewel of Texas. And I think if we can actually bring the wind of change at the level of the state, demonstrating and wanting that there is a change there, that would be a fantastic accomplishment, and that would certainly go much further than us.
I would certainly be proud of that one. I think, I actually did take some notes, and these, other kind of quote soft benefits is something that we can take a look at.
Thank you.
I had the opportunity to speak to your predecessor in the same thing. A few years ago, my long-term domestic partner's father passed away, and I called my direct person that I reported to, asked for 3 days of vacation. When I returned, she had put in 3 days of bereavement leave for me. I hadn't asked for it, she gave it to me. I thought that was really kind of cool. 2 days later, I was called into my manager's office and told that that was impossible, that it was an illegitimate request. I explained to him I had not asked for it. And he said, it's still illegitimate. You're not married. I'm denying this. And I have heard the story over and over in the institution of individuals who our partners' families have passed away. I have managed staff almost every year that I've worked for MD Anderson. I started here in 1980. That's interrupted service, but over 17 years. When one of my employees comes to me and says, my husband's died, the institution never asked for a marriage license. When they say their grandmother's died, they never asked for proof of relationship. It's always accepted if it's in a heterosexual frame. If it's in a gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgendered frame, it's immediately denied. And I think that is a terrible inequity, and I think it falls in the frame that was addressed in the things that this institution can do. That is a soft benefit that has tremendous value. I felt so incredibly disrespected by my division that I left the division. You know, I sought an immediate exit, and I got it, and I left. And I considered leaving the institution again over it. I think it's really important that if we can't have full domestic benefits, that tokens are thrown out that say we're incrementally working towards that. And if UT Austin can do it, why can't UTMD Anderson do it?
Yep. Well, I think, you know, one thing, first of all, I apologize on behalf of the institution. Secondly, the reference that I made about looking into some of these things and figuring out what it is we can do without breaking the law, I think is something that I'm more than happy to do, and I think is appropriate. And I would suggest that we form a small working group to look at this so that we can actually you know, take substantive steps forward. I'm a person that's not just about meetings and kumbaya sessions, but, you know, looking at issues and arriving at things that improve the quality of life for all of us, not just our patients. But those that are,
But you know, Dr.
so I beat you to the punch. Thank you very much for sharing that story with me.
Doctor, you know what, I'd like to add something to that, and I think that has to do with our core values to begin with. You know, I've often said this, you know, I mean, people, you know, be a mensch, you know, be a person. I think one of the things that diversity is trying to do is to educate with the classes that are given you know, things like that. But I think that's one of the things that we all have to overcome and be more understanding about the people you're working with. You know, and whether it's anything, you know, whether it's being gay, green, purple, or blue, you know, and understanding that we're all fellow human beings. Now, that it sounds like a cliche, but I think in this particular case, you know, I'm not saying that somebody should bend or that, but if you're going to be always just by the book or flexibility, because I know there are other people in the institution who are a little bit more flexible, who are a little bit more understanding. You know, so I think that's the core of it. And the people who are afraid to come out as well, that we may need to look at that and help them with that. That maybe that's their own issues, you know? I mean, we're always tending to look at somebody to blame, but we're here really to educate, and to educate by our example as well. Because you know, for as long as I'm involved in GLBT, we've not really had any major instances where somebody actually came to complain that we felt that it was a direct attack on somebody because they were homosexual. So, now I know these things do go on, and obviously, but that person, I think, needs a little bit more education and needs a little bit more support from everybody.
But I think that, you know, we need to, I think that those are well stated. We should not underestimate human nature.
Right.
I think we need to be very vigilant. You know, just like folks don't want to come out, there are those individuals that won't say certain things, but might influence their behavior and the kinds of decisions that they make with respect to granting promotions, raises, opportunities, and things of that nature. So this is something that we need to be very vigilant of, and we just have to be proactive. My view is to really assume that this is going on across the board, and that we need to make sure that we are not passive and just hope for the best. So I think it really does take education and so on. In this country, became what it is today in part because there was always that attention paid to human rights. And it's what defines this nation more than anything else. Opportunity, human rights.
Well, we're very glad you feel that way.
Yes. No questions?
Vanessa with the GLBT brought these issues to the Office of the Chief Diversity Officer.
You know, by the way, it sounds like they're having a lot more fun.
They are having a lot of fun. So these strategic initiatives that the GLBT network brought to the Office of the Chief Diversity Officer last week, definitely Dr. Harry Gibbs is very much involved and has a vested interest for all your strategic initiatives to be carried out and completed. Of course, we're taking baby steps, so it won't be done maybe in a year or two. But I do want to encourage you that these things are being worked on. We are forming a small subcommittee, and we will be requesting, we already notified Vanessa that we will be requesting members of the GLBT network to be part of this committee. The issues that cannot be solved at our level, Dr. DePinho's office has agreed to work with us on those higher level issues. So, you know, sometimes it feels like you're taking 2 steps backward and so forth. But I just really want to encourage you guys that we've come a long way, and we all really have a vested interest for this to come through. So please don't get discouraged.
We are not discouraged.
Yeah, I think on that note, yeah, absolutely.
We are not
We're
discouraged at all.
certainly not.
We actually have taken, you know, the step to say that's what we want to do, and I think we are ready to work, really work, sit at the table and say what can be done. And in the EC, as well as the old network, we have different expertise, different experience, different roles in the institution, and I think everybody can bring a little bit to the table.
So we're
And
ready
so
to work.
what we want to do is to sit with you, have a task force, dividing those tasks, and then go on, and not just, you know, just month by month, have a milestone by milestone.
And just to inform people, it's part of working for that HEI initiative. There was a group of individuals that actually went through all 800 pages of policies and procedures that we have here at this institution, specifically looking to be sure that they were neutral in terms of everything, including orientation, gender identity. In your particular case, I don't know if they picked that up because I don't know what changes were made, but there was a group already working on that, and the first thing that we'll do is go back and have that group look at it. We did find lots of things. For example, we discovered that if your uncle became ill and you wanted to take time off to take him to the hospital, you could do that, but then if he died, you couldn't go to his funeral. Because the definitions of family were different for each policy. We picked that up, and we did change a number of things to make them neutral for both patients and employees. In this particular instance, we have to go back and see what the current policy is, and if, you know, change it as necessary.
And then you need to educate management.
Absolutely, absolutely, we do.
Education, very important. I just, we'll have to wrap it up soon as I have another appointment, but this is important, so take your time. If you really have very important questions, I'll stay.
I don't have a question. Good afternoon, I'm Renee Rodriguez. I just want to say thank you. I am very blessed to be in this room with everybody, including yourself. I've worked for the state for 17 years. I'm an administrative assistant in the Division of Internal Medicine. And this is the first time in my 17 years working with the state that I've actually attended a GLBT meeting this significant. My first day with the state at HR Employment at UTMB in Galveston, the very first day I was hired with the state, the Director of Employment welcomed me, and in the same breath, same sentence, said, don't ever mention your kind and your background and what your lifestyle is here. It's not welcome, but we welcome your skills. And here I am, almost 16 years later, next month, and I couldn't be at the best place in my life with my career, and I'm very proud to be here. I appreciate your coming here and just having conversation with us. And I'm very proud of the GLBT group as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
think that says it all for all of us. I think we're all deeply proud to be here, and it's wonderful to have you, so thank you so much.
I need your help. Not the other way around. I need your help.
Thank you so much.